So hi, lovely to be here, and thanks for the honor. Let me start with a very simple question, which is, why judo? You could pick so many things. Why judo?
Old-fashioned question.
Sorry.
Why judo? Just because my brother, Yuval, one of my eldest brother, he suffered in the past from, at class, the other children just weren't so nice to him, and my parents thought that maybe he should start with judo. There was only one club in Tel Aviv. Today we have so many clubs around Israel, but then we had only one club. And I was 8 years old. I have 3 older brothers, and I used to do whatever they did. So I went with them. So simple.
It's so random. Do you think that you would have been such a gifted athlete in other things? I mean, if they went to play basketball or something else, or are you particularly good at judo? Could you have picked anything?
Many times people ask me what I would have been if I wouldn't go to judo. But this is, of course, a question I cannot answer. But I think that we need to go after our talent. Every child in Israel and around the world, they go to try sport or music or many other things in the afternoon, and eventually we go after or something that we like or something that we're talented. I tried a few kind of sports when I was young. Most of them I was quite good, but when I started judo, it was, for me, immediately I liked it. It was very nice to take boys, throw them on their back. And I realized I'm quite talented, so yeah, it was nice.
Okay, so the next question, I'm sorry I have to ask this.
But maybe not everything about judo, huh? It's not that interesting anymore.
So I'm sorry in advance, but it's going to be a little bit about your medal. So there is research in behavioral economics that shows that when you look at pictures of people who won medals, you would expect that it's gold, silver, bronze, but it's actually gold, silver, the least happy, and then bronze is happier. So you would think that the bronze will be the least happy, but it turned out the silver is the least happy. And the reason is because of relativity. The reason is that a lot of our happiness in life is not driven by where we are, it's driven by where we think we could have been. And if you win the silver medal, you compare yourself to the gold. And you say, I was this close, I could have been there. And if you win the bronze, you say, at least I'm here. Look at everybody else.
Somehow I know this feeling, yeah. It's the story of my 92 Olympic Games. Actually, you're right, and I can't say anyway that you're wrong in
But when you were standing on getting the medal, like, do you? I mean, so we know the SMILE study, but I'm saying for you, did you compare yourself? Who?
I think today to tell you, how I felt 27 years ago, almost 28, it will be, I don't know. But to be honest, when I look at my pictures back from 92, from the podium, I cannot find any happy or smiling picture on the podium of myself. Sometimes I want to, ask her, just smile for the history, but I don't have any, and I'm quite proud of it, because, it's obvious when you get there to the final. I mean, if you will ask me when I was 10 years old if I ever stand on the podium, it's a dream that I started to dream when I was 16. But once you get there, and once you win the semifinal, and you have the Olympic medal, you fulfill your dreams, and all your targets in life, something that who could imagine that young Yael from Tel Aviv will ever become the first Israeli to win an Olympic medal. But once you get there, and you go to the final, you want, to be the champion, you want the tikva, you want your anthem, you want your flag to be raised above all other flags. And of course, it's something that gets you very nervous and unhappy when you lose. Especially when I lost, I had, judo fight is 4 minutes. And we got to the end of these 4 minutes in the Olympic final. I was competing with Fleury, the French, and it was Tico. No one could win. So the 3 referees that were on the mat, they were standing with, they had these flags, and they had to show to the direction who won, who they thought was more active. So one of the referees gave Fleury the victory, and the other referee gave me the victory. And only the Chinese referee in the middle, it was like a knife to my stomach. She gave the victory to Fleury, and then, you feel like you're really almost
this close,
there. Yeah. But this is history, and I'm so proud that I could, fulfill my dreams and win the Olympic medal and to become a European champion, a second in the world. And I'm not looking back with sorrow or thinking what would happen, if I think I'm very happy.
Okay. And when you look at professional sports or judo specifically, in my research on dishonesty, I've done lots of things on cycling and drugs, and there's lots of wonderful things about how sports become professional, some less wonderful things. Are you concerned? Are you following different trends? Are you in judo, is there similar challenges to what there are in cycling or used to be?
You mean about drugs in achievement sports? Yeah, I think, eventually it's all about opportunities. Once all the athletes around the world are following the same rules, so if the rules were to take drugs, it's fine. But once some of them are stealing, abilities with drugs, and the others are going by the rules, following the rules, I think this is something that ruin the opportunity and ruin for us as audience. It's as kids would say, it's not fair. So we can see now what happens with Russia, where WADA dismissed them from the next 4 years. But this is really...
By the way, the corruption and dishonesty is not just in sports, in other areas of life too.
Of course, but in other areas of life, you sit in jail. And here you just...
in politics, not always.
We shall see the end.
Okay, so I think it's like very probably standard to say, what advice would you give kids who are getting into sport? And it's kind of a very nice thing to do because kids change, and if they have sports, that's good as well. But what advice would you give aging men? So I'm not a kid anymore. The kids have something to develop. I'm kind of maybe not so much. But let's say I wanted to become to do something in sports. Like with kids, we can say, okay, it develops character and so on. But I have 52 years of established character. Do you think things can still improve? Was it too late?
First of all, I saw you training a few years ago. Even we did one training together. So I think you have the abilities. I think that excellency, it's something that goes in every field, in every space. So for you as a professor, someone that probably has the abilities to dream far, to go through, to work hard, I believe that you have the same skills like I have. Maybe you are smarter, but I'm stronger maybe. So
let's not test it. Let's
Yeah.
assume.
So, but I really believe that each one of us, once you're a business woman, a successful businesswoman, or entrepreneur, or a musician, or a professor, I think you have the same skills. So if I would go now to study, something new, I believe that I would, and I can give you an example from myself, retiring from sport, make the transition to business almost 20 years ago. So I imagine myself training in business just as I have trained in sport. And I took the same tools that I gained in sport and took them into my new field. And I realized that it's just the same structure, the same model.
Is it organization of the day? Is it stamina? Is it persistence?
First of all, it's passion. If you have passion for something, if you want to be a successful person, if you want to make a successful business or any other thing, if you have the passion, so this is, I think, the first step and very important step. But then you have to be able to work hard, self-discipline, to be able, maybe something that most of us don't like, to take failures and disappointments. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Because many of us, when they see a wall, they don't want to get through. They say, okay, maybe it's too hard for me, it's too tough for me, maybe it's not for me, maybe I can do some other things. We don't like to be disappointed. And I learned through my sport career that it's fine, it's okay to fail, There's nothing wrong about it. And if you don't allow yourself failures, you cannot be successful. This is something that I think that in everything that you do, every field, you have to remember it and let yourself go through failures.
I just got divorced. I'm ready for that. Our time is up. I was going to ask you to arm wrestle, but sadly we don't have enough time, so we'll have to do it another time.
Thank you.
תודה רבה.